Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas, the morning edition, the worldwide successful automotive radio and video show. It's a podcast now. Thank you for joining us. Gas, the Great American Auto Scene, part of Two Tired Guys Productions. You can check us out on YouTube and iTunes and a host of other places. Blogger, Tumblr, Anchor FM. We're all over the place, and I post some of that on my Facebook page. Check it out, Bob Beck on Facebook. I'm there. Be there. Join us. But today we're going to talk about tires. And as you know, Gas is part of Two Tired Guys Productions. And it's TIRED. Well, you get the idea. But we're going to talk about tires. Now, one of the things to talk about, besides the history of the tires, is how to read a tire. So let's start with the history and then move on to what the readings or the numbers on the side of the tires really mean. Now, the pneumatic tire started out early on in the 1800s. It's not something new, but it really didn't get it perfected until much later on. And Benz gasoline-powered cars, before it became Mercedes-Benz, had pneumatic tires in 1888. New technology. Now, there was advancements in technology at the time because rubber tires were something, well, in 1850, they learned to vulcanize the rubber to make it stronger, to use it for many other things and keep it from being sticky all the time. So Benz was the first manufactured car to use the pneumatic tires in production. Now, early developments, the first tires had no tread. Now, a lot of guys say, well, racing tires have no tread. True, it's a different situation, though. They didn't have tread because they didn't know it needed it, and they didn't know how to put them on. So it wasn't until 1905 that tread was introduced into pneumatic tires for the first time. Now, it was a thickened contact patch to hopefully reduce wear because the original tires were basically slip and slide, and they wore out quite quickly. Hi, Katie McBride and Neil Panks. How are you doing this morning? And so the tires started getting tread, but they were still soft rubber, and they still wore out because tires were not black yet. That's right. You see tires that are black now. They weren't originally. They were white. They were the color of the rubber. The rubber did not come out of the plants in black. It came out white, and that's what it was. So black tires didn't matter. In 1923, the first balloon-style tire was used. It looks similar to what we have today, and basically they called it balloon because it was a more rounded design. But in the early 1900s, they started adding carbon to the rubber. That's where you get the black color on tires, and that carbon in the tires helped make the tires last longer. That's right. Carbon helps make the tires last longer. The side effect to that, though, is carbon can create static electricity. And you'll see in aircraft and some trucks and in a lot of places, they have a static strap that they will hook to the vehicle that's getting refueled to prevent a fire or a spark. And there have been some instances where rolling across your nylon upholstery can create static electricity, and you ground it out when you put the pump into the gas tank. But that's a whole nother story. We're talking about tires here. All right, so in 1923, the first balloon tires came out. These were more sidewall, a little bit wider, a little bit rounder shape, smoothing out the vehicle ride. It's pretty good. DuPont happened to come up with this design in 1931 or 23, and then came up with a synthetic rubber by DuPont in 1931. And this totally changed the automotive tire industry because now tires were more readily available and easier to make. Now, gaining traction in 1947, the first tubeless tires. That's right. Before that, everything was a tube. Now, that was not widely accepted initially. Cars still came with tube-type tires. Trailers through the 60s had tube-type tires. Trucks, tube-type tires. Race cars still use tube-type tires. So tubes have not gone away, but the tubeless tire made it a little bit easier and a little bit safer in that you didn't have the tube to worry about inside the tire. And that came about in 1947. A short while later, in 1949, the first radial tires were manufactured, and this started a whole new movement in tire acceptability. Now, radial tires tend to squirm a little bit, move a little bit, giving a better ride, also better traction. The tread stays planted, whereas the sidewall is flexible. Now, in a bias ply tire, the sidewall is very stiff, so as you're going around a corner, the tread can actually lift off the pavement. Hi, Rebecca, how you doing? Wire wheels should be tubed as well. Yes, wire wheels have holes in them, basically, where the spokes go through. They are not sealed. They try, but truthfully, a spoked tire or a wire wheel should have a tube, and it should have something to protect the tube from where the wire goes through or the spokes go through on that wheel. Now, most wheels have a little bit of a lip now for the tubeless tire, and that helps keep the tire planted on the rim. And new designs have come out. Radial run-flat tires. Now, this was a thing because manufacturers were looking for a way to save weight. So they eliminated the spare tire. Now, first they had those little donut spares that fit in the back, the space savers, as they called them. They were actually lightweight. And even Ford had a special aluminum wheel that space saver would go on when they put them in Mustangs and Thunderbirds. But they've come out with run-flat tires where you can actually drive on them even after they've gone flat for maybe 100 miles or so. The problem with those tires, A, they're very expensive, and B, they ride harsh in compared to a regular tire. Now, radial tires got introduced at the turn of the century, or actually now, 1949, last century, mid-century, but really didn't gain popularity until Consumer Reports magazine said, oh, these are the greatest things since sliced bread, and all of a sudden, everyone wanted radial tires. I put them on my car the first time in early 1970s and noticed an immediate difference in handling, ride quality, the difficulty in steering was reduced, and the fuel mileage went up. So I've been using radial tires since the mids or the early 70s, and they're on every car I have. I don't have bias pliers tires on anything, including my trailer. Now, there's special tires for a trailer. A trailer needs a stiffer sidewall, otherwise it will flex too much. So there's special tires for trailers. You don't put car tires on a trailer. That's something to look at and think about. Now, efficiency keeps changing. Tires keep getting better. Racing tires are different altogether. Now, racing tires come in two different forms. There's a street radial in both drag racing and road racing style. There are slicks. These are no-tread tires, and these are used in both road racing and drag racing, but there's a different technology in the sidewall. The drag racing slicks have flexible sidewalls, or they call them wrinkle walls, because under pressure, when you start out, they tend to wrinkle, and there's been a lot of photographs of that on Top Fuel dragsters and funny cars and such. There's street radials. These have a very soft compound, but are made in such a way that they're Department of Transportation approved for street use. Do they last very long on the street? Nope. So if you're running them on the street, you're going to be buying tires frequently, and they're not cheap. You're looking at $150 to $250, $300 a piece, and they wear out quite quickly. There's also rain tires for road racing. Now, a lot of road racing groups race in the rain. You've seen it at Le Mans. You see it in IMSA. If it's raining, it's still racing. Formula One. They've got rain tires. There's special grooves to siphon off the water so the cars do not hydroplane as much. They still hydroplane. And that is one of the problems with wider tires. The wider tire will cause you to hydroplane easier than a narrower tire. However, how often do you drive in the rain? So you just need to slow down. Oh, there's the catch. You are responsible for slowing down. And that's why we see so many accidents in the rain. People do not slow down, and they don't realize they're going to go into that type of a problem. So now let's take a look at some other things that have to do with tires. And let's take a look at how do you read a tire. And reading a tire is very important because there are numbers and codes and information on the side of the tire that are going to make the car or the vehicle safer to drive. Yes. You do not want to under-tire your car. And over-tiring really doesn't do much. I get overtired very easy, but you do not want to over-tire your car. Well, that means the width and the height, because as you change the height, you change the effective gear ratio. Although the gears say, let's just say you've got 411 gears in the back, the taller the tire, the less effective that 411 is, because it's got to turn a bigger circumference of the tire. And in racing, they measure the outside of the tire to make sure that all the tires they want are the same diameter or circumference. In sprint car racing, for example, the outside tire is taller than the inside tire, or is it the other way around? But they change the tire size, they stagger them, as they say. And that may also be the same situation in NASCAR on the big ovals. On road courses, they want the same size tires just to make the car more balanced. On my Corvette, for example, the rear tires are bigger than the front tires. That is the way the factory decided. That's how the car handles best. Now, you can change things. In drag racing, they use a very narrow tire in the front and a wider tire in the rear. Why? Less rolling resistance on the front and better traction from more tire on the ground in the rear. So let's take a look at some of the lettering you see on the side of the tires. And we'll start off by looking at a tire that's called the P205/55R1992T M+S. Okay, you ready? Here we go. All right, the P that I first mentioned is for passenger cars. So this is for a car or a very light-duty small pickup truck. You don't want to put a heavy-duty pickup truck or a large pickup truck on passenger tires. They'll wear out too quickly. They can't handle the loads that you're going to be putting on a truck. So if you've got a truck, you want an LT tire. That's a light-duty truck, pickup trucks. Half tons. 3/4 ton, now you're getting a little bit heavier there. You're going to need a heavier tire for that. Now, the 205 I just mentioned is the section width. Now, the section width is from sidewall to sidewall, millimeters. It's measured in millimeters now. We no longer have the tires 760/15 or H, or we had so many different things. They've gone to a universal size rating that the Europeans use, and that's in millimeters and metric. So our tires are metric. Now, the only constant or the only thing that challenges that is what is the wheel size. The wheel size is measured in inches. So the tire is a combination of inches and metric sizes. So you get a 205/15, for example. That is a 205 section width on a 15-inch wheel. Okay, aspect ratio. Now, the number after the slash that I mentioned is the aspect ratio, which refers to the profile height of the sidewall and the height of the sidewall as a percentage of the tread width. An example, 55, like I said on this example we're using today, is the sidewall height is 55% of the 205 millimeter tread width. All right, to make this simple, the sidewall height would be 5 inches if the section height or width was 10 inches. Okay? Now, you guys in Europe that are watching us, I know I did it in inches. You know the metric. So you had 50 millimeters in height and you had 100 millimeters in width. Does that help you? Okay, good. You're shaking your head. That's very good. Now, wheel diameter is next. No, or the construction is next, actually. The tires with an R means it's a radial tire construction. Not nearly as common or other types. D would be for diagonal and B for bias belted. And we really don't see those much anymore, except maybe on real heavy-duty truck applications or farm implement vehicles. Now, wheel diameter, this is a code, like I said, it's in inches. It doesn't matter whether in Europe or in the U.S., it's in inches. So it can be 10 inches, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I've got 18s on my Corvette. I've got 15s on the Plymouth. I've got 16s on the back of my Chevy and 15s in the front. The wheel diameter. What size tire fits that wheel? It's a 15-inch or a 16-inch. That is still a constant. Whether you're in Europe or the U.S., we use inches for that one. The next is a load index. And the load index means how much load can be placed on each tire. And it's not total range of the tires for the car. It's just that particular tire. And a load index of, say, 92 means a tire can support 1,389 pounds. Why is it 92 means 1,389? Because that's what the engineers say it does. And Okay, I know it doesn't make sense. They're engineers, remember? They don't always make sense to normal people. They're engineers. All right, so let's just say you've got a 92 rated tire. You've got 4 tires on your car, 1389 times 4. Total weight rating is 5,556 pounds. Okay, give you an idea what you need. So if you've got a truck that weighs 7,000 pounds and you're putting 92 tires on your car, load index 92, or your truck, that's too light. They're going to be worn out quicker. They're going to overheat. They're going to cause you problems. So make sure the tire you buy has the load rating for the vehicle you are driving. Don't worry about price. What's your life worth? And that's what you got to think about when you're putting on tires. Now, DOT, Department of Transportation in the U.S., rates tires and registers them. For example, the DOT code, we'll look at this, and this one's a long one. It says DOT ATE9 UA4052. I want you to remember all that. There'll be a test later. Okay, so the Uniform Tire Quality Grade Standards is what this is. And it's the Uniform it's UTQG. Uniform Tire Quality Grade Standards. Tread wear, for an example. The higher the number, the longer the tire is more than likely going to last. Tread-wise. Again, if you put the wrong size tire on the car, it's got too low of a load rating, your tire is going to wear and it's not going to last as long. If you also don't run the right pressure, it's going to have the same problem. So, for example, a value of 600 should deliver more mileage than a value of 400 on the sidewall of the tire. So look at the tread wear rating. That will give you an idea how long it's going to last. Now, conversely, if you're looking for something that's going to grab better and get better traction, it's the lower number. That's a softer tread. Now, traction rates here's another thing that they're going to rate on the traction, is traction ratings refers to the tire's ability to stop in a straight line on wet asphalt, on concrete, under controlled conditions of a test track. You don't drive on a test track, and I don't drive on a test track, and we're looking for the best traction on acceleration 90% of the time. We think about acceleration and cornering versus stopping, although it's a very important part because especially when the guy in front of you stops quicker than you do, you really want to be able to stop before you meet them in the back seat. So what you're looking for is possible traction grades are AA, A, B, or C. The AA being the best stopping ability. So that would be an indication of tread design and softness of the tire. The softer the tire, the faster it's going to wear. Now, there's also a temperature rating, and this is the tire's resistance to heat when you drive at high speeds. They're graded from A to C, just like in school. You want an A. These tires are the most efficient at dissipating heat. Now, there's a tread wear indicator. Like I said, we talked about that. Tread wear 500 is going to give you more traction AA, temperature A. So that's what you're looking at. Now, M plus S or M&S. That stands for mud and snow. Here in Southern California, that's really useless. We don't have mud or snow here unless you're up in the mountains. And if you're up in the mountains, they're going to make you use chains anyway. But the mud and snow gives you a wider tread gap. In other words, the gap between the treads, so you get better traction. So that's something to look at there. Rotation arrows. There are some tires that are directional. In other words, the tread is supposed to be facing in a specific direction for it to work right. If you put the tire on backwards, you can still drive. It's not going to stop you, but it's not going to work properly, and you're probably going to end up with tire problems. So some tires are directional or unidirectional, and they'll have an arrow telling you which way they're supposed to go. The tread patterns may be asymmetrical. In the early 1984 Corvettes, you had wheels and tires that were directional. So you had to have them in the right location on the car. You could not rotate tires in the traditional sense because they had a direction they were going. On my Corvette, you cannot rotate the tires because A, they're directional, and B, there's two different sizes, front or rear. So what are you going to do for tires? You got a choice. Radials, slicks, racing tires, bias ply tires. You can still get bias ply tires for antique cars. There's a number of companies that are making those. Wide white walls, skinny white walls, red line, blue line. What do you want? What do you got? Make it fit the car properly. It's your life that depends on the tire size and the tire type that you use on your vehicle. I'm Hot Rod Bob. Gave you a little bit of information about tires, And you can check it out on many websites. There are tire companies that are giving you this information, as well as consumers' websites that have it for you as well. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got gas. How's those tires doing for you? The Great American Auto Scene, brought to you by Valley Head Service, Service Tech Equipment, Irwindale Speedway, Irwindale Drag Strip, and Moon Eyes. Hope you have a great day. Check us out on YouTube. This show will also be available on YouTube in probably an hour or so. And it will be back on Facebook. Click on it. And don't take phone calls while you're doing a broadcast. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got gas. The Great American Auto Scene, an award-winning podcast, seen worldwide, and rated in the top 200 in Europe. I'm Bob Beck. Take care now. Oh, also, don't hang up. You still there? Good. Hey, you want to check out a website called dreamchopper.com. Yeah, you can see a picture of me there. Not that you're not seeing a picture of me now. Well, you aren't if you're listening to us on iTunes or Anchor FM. But go to, dreamchopper.com and vote for me. You got another chance to vote for Bob Beck. Yes, vote for me, please. dreamchopper.com. I may get a chance to meet Paul Tuttle and build a chopper. I got some special plans if I do, and I know you're going to like it because I know you're going to like it. I'm just that kind of guy. All right, you guys have a great day. Guys and gals that are watching us, thank you for tuning in to GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene. Since 1990, your source for information and humor, all automotive related. Take care now.